Hello again, dear friends. I'm here with you for the second session of the ESP8266 tutorial series. In the end, we're going to use it to implement a project to control a 5-channel relay via Wi-Fi and a web browser. Alright friends, in this session we want to briefly review the different types of ESP8266 modules available on the market and choose the best one. To buy and start programming on this popular microcontroller, well, at the very first and most basic level, as you can see in the image, this microcontroller, which comes in the form of modules from the ESP company itself, can be obtained as a standalone module, which is suitable for when your project is finalized. When you've made a PCB for it and everything is ready. But if this module has been produced and offered to customers, you should use this module and make a PCB for it, because due to its SMD nature and also the additional circuits it needs to operate, you should never, especially at the beginning, if you want to use a breadboard or work in a learning environment with a board, if you work with it, this module simply can't meet your needs or be usable for you. So you're forced to go for boards that are offered with this module. For example, there is a board in the form of Arduino Uno. As you can see in the image, one of these modules only uses the ESP8266 module inside it, and the other one has the ESP8266 alongside the ATmega328 chip of the Arduino Uno itself. Both of these are good options if you want your board to be in the form of an Arduino Uno. Why is that? Because with the Arduino Uno format, you might actually find some very useful modules available in the market that can be mounted directly onto this board. So if you're looking for such options, these two boards can be practical for you. Now, depending on your needs, you can choose either the model that only uses the ESP8266 or the one that uses it alongside the ATmega328. You can purchase whichever one suits you. It all depends on your needs and which part your project is going to rely on more. Will you be making full use of that ATmega or just part of the ESP8266? But as for the other three popular boards, personally, I'm not really a fan of these two boards at all. The reason is that besides their high price, they don't really offer you any impressive features, other than the fact that they've been implemented in the Arduino format. So, the next thing I'm going to introduce to you is 3 separate modules from the ESP8266 series. But what are the uses of these 3 modules? I'll start with the smallest one in this family. This module is incredibly cheap and extremely practical as long as your project doesn't require input-output pins. As you can see, this module has the ESP8266 mounted on it, and its advantage compared to all other ESP8266 modules is its size. And that's about it. It only gives you access to 2 pins, meaning the rest of the pins are for power supply and communication. With the pins that you can use as input or output, there are only 2 pins. What is the use of this module? If in your project you only need communication, you need Wi-Fi and you only want a single input or output for your device. For example, you connect a button and on the other side a relay. Or for instance, you just want to connect 2 relays to your module, or you only want to, for example, connect 2 LEDs to your module if your application is limited to this level. Or for example, you just want to connect a single sensor to it and view the sensor's data through your browser, if that's all you need. You can buy this module and enjoy it. It's extremely affordable and very compact. It will completely meet your needs as long as you don't require input-output pins, but again, for educational purposes, I don't really recommend this module. Let's move on to the next module, which is one size larger than the previous one and is known as the Wemos D1 Mini, as you can see in the picture, just like you see right here in the image. Well, this module gives you access to a greater number of pins. It's a very compact module, suitable for educational purposes. Again, you can easily use it and it won't let you down. In a way, considering its price, it can also be a good choice. It fits easily onto a breadboard, and the next point is, which is the most well-known member of the ESP8266 family, and I strongly recommend it if you want to take advantage of all the features of the ESP8266. Given the reasonable cost you pay, and if you want to use your board for educational purposes, I fully recommend it. I've probably heard the name NodeMCU a lot in many places. Maybe nowadays people don't even call it the 8266 anymore and just refer to it directly as NodeMCU. That's because this device is extremely well known and is generally referred to as the NodeMCU module. It's known as the model that has a more advanced serial IC, providing a more stable serial connection. It also has a version with a cheaper serial IC, but there's no difference in their actual performance. The only differences might be in the programming process and serial communications. You might notice these differences, but again, there's really no weakness compared to each other. Still, well, if you don't have budget constraints, I definitely recommend this model, which, as you can see, has a square-shaped IC. It's called the CP21-F2 IC. Its serial communication is completely advanced and professional. So, to sum up what I've said, what does it come down to? If I want to summarize it all for you, if you want to make a PCB for your circuit, then definitely just the bare module. Of course, you need to pay close attention to the suffix when buying. If you want to use ready-made modules available on the market, like those in Arduino Uno format, you should use them. You need to buy the model that's designed in the Arduino Uno format. And if you want to use it for educational purposes, I highly recommend the NodeMCU, and after that, the Wemos D1, since both of them can be mounted on a breadboard. Both of them fit on a breadboard. They have a good number of pins. They're perfectly suitable and will get the job done for you. And if you only need Wi-Fi connectivity and want a small size, and ultimately you just want to connect 1 or 2 sensors to your board or have 1 or 2 output boards, well, I highly recommend this module for that reason, because it has an extremely low price and is also very small in size. After all, in some projects, size might be extremely important for us. So this was the review of the available options in the educational market that I will be covering later. We're working with the Wemos D1 Mini, but this tutorial can be fully implemented on the NodeMCU as well, with just a very small change. There's also the NodeMCU, so if you're undecided between the NodeMCU and the Wemos D1 Mini and you're hesitating between them, don't let this tutorial be the reason for your indecision. Go ahead and buy the D1 Mini, because this code works on all these ESP series, from the bare module to this small module all the way up to the largest module, which is the NodeMCU, and it can be run on all these boards and modules. Let this be considered the second session of the tutorial as well. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Until the next videos, goodbye.